Richard's done his research. Yeah, donkey sperm, Britney Spears.
You got it.
On
You got it. Yes. Hello and welcome. I'm Joey Nolfi with Entertainment Weekly, and today I'm joined by a fabulous group of actors from the epic drag queen musical movie Everybody's Talking About Jamie on Amazon Prime Video starting September 17th. Please welcome stars Max Harwood, who plays the lead role of a teenage boy who dreams of becoming a queen, Richard E. Grant as a drag icon who helps Jamie along the way, and Bianca Del Rio, who has a role in the film and also starred in the West End stage production that the movie is based on. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. And I know I told you guys we were here today for a really fun discussion on drag and expert drag queen tips that Bianca might have for you, but I've just now decided I think we're just going to give Bianca the floor for 30 minutes to roast everybody on this recording. So Bianca, do you want to take it away?
No, it's a little too... You know what? It's 10 a.m. here in Palm Springs. That's a lot for me. So I must tell you, when someone does that to me, they often they walk up to me and go, read me, say something hateful. It takes a little time, So yeah. I started with my iced coffee. Catch me in about 20 minutes. Let's see what I can do for you. Quick.
She knows I'm fragile as well.
Yeah, completely.
She'll break me. She'll break me.
Fragile, something no one has ever said about me. Okay, yeah.
Well, in all seriousness, the film is really, really lovely, and I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about performing in it. So Max and Richard, I'll start with you. You both spend a lot of the film, obviously, in drag. So did you consult with any actual drag queens on the art of getting into drag? And if so, what was the best advice you got before doing the film?
Yeah, I know a few queens in the UK, non-drag race girls that I reached out to just for like tips and tricks and what to expect. But to be honest with you, all of the tips and tricks, they were like, you will literally just, it will take over you. There was lots to it in terms of like the costuming and the wigs and the makeup. It really, for me, it definitely felt like the drag took over me and I had to step into it and be fearless.
So why do you want to be a drag queen?
Because it's all I ever dream of. And when I close my eyes, it's all I can see.
You just found yourself a mentor.
Yeah, yes, please.
I felt like the equivalent of one of those cars that stops in motor racing, where there's a pit stop and they've got 60 seconds and every person comes from every direction. They change the wheels, they change the oil, they change your clothes, they change your underwear, they change your makeup. And I had a brilliant team. I had Anne-Marie Speed teach me how to sing, which was monumental thing. Sean Niles taught me how to walk, which in heels, and he's about 6'7", and an unbelievable person. I'd never seen a drag show in my life. I'd seen Dame Edna Everage, but I think that's female impersonation. And then I watched every season of RuPaul's Drag Race in 3 weeks. Literally binge watched the whole lot. I then had Guy Speranza make the most incredible outfit. Guy Common do the makeup and the wig. Nadia Stacey do all of that. And then there was a drag queen called David Hoyle, who he's an incredible. I'd never seen him before, and I went to his show and I spent a lot of time with him and I had dinner with him a lot. And he really informed me because I'm playing somebody who is an old has-been as opposed to, the mega star that Bianca Del Rio is. It was very helpful to meet somebody who was kind of living on the edge of life in very reduced circumstances and very challenging. So that his vulnerability and his melancholy were things that literally I felt like a sponge when I was in his presence. So he absolutely inspired me, which is a very long answer to your very short question.
No, it's great. I love how much care and consideration you put into this. I am curious to know what you thought of Bianca's season of Drag Race, though, knowing that she was so closely tied to Jamie already. What did you think of season 6?
Unbelievably sensational. Sensational. The courage that you have to do what you do, and the chutzpah and the glamour and everything. I mean, it's off the chart. My respect. I said this before, at the risk of sounding politically incorrect, you've got to have a massive pair of cojones to pull this off.
Yes.
Respect.
Well, you know what, Richard? To get a compliment from you is really difficult. Real difficult. But no, I accept that. No.
I'm just imagining Richard watching you tear into Laganja and Trinity and just like, what What that must have been like for you, Richard, watching that.
The rest of the world will see that nicer side. Are you prepared for that?
You've been filming this?
Well, Bianca, what do you think is the best piece of advice for doing drag in general that you would give Max and Richard?
Well, I mean, I think that what's great about this particular story, though, it's one of those things where I had seen the show in the West End and fell in love with it, and I didn't know what it was going to be. And what I loved most about the story is that it's not preachy, because there's so many of these gay musicals where it's like beating you over the head, like, blah, 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 I'm gay, accept me, love my life. And what's so great about this is that it's a well-established character who's decided he wants to be a drag queen. His mother and their friends support him. And it's no discussion about that. You know what I mean? It's like we pick up, we go. It's a clear thought. It's not preachy. You don't sympathize with Jamie on the level of, oh, he's struggling to be gay. That's been established, you know, and being gay has nothing to do with being a drag queen, which I think is what's brilliant about the show. And meeting someone who is a mentor, it resonated with me because in my life, I experienced many people like Richard that were very welcoming to me because my family didn't understand me, so to speak, as a child. So you meet your theatrical family or you meet your gay family and you meet these people that kind of shape your life. So when I was first approached to do the show, I thought, well, what are they asking me to be? I just assumed I would be the bitch, Miss Hedge. And then I realized that ain't in my key. But then what was fascinating is that they said, no, you're going to play the older drag queen who's generous. And I thought, well, that's a fucking challenge. And I also realized at that point, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm 40. At the time, I was 44 years old. And I'm like, I guess I am the old queen now. So it was interesting to get to play it. But I just thought that the story was just so special. And what's great about it, as Richard was saying, is that, you know, it's a guy who had this amazing life that had kind of fizzled away, and he settled in what he was settling in. And yet this young boy comes in full of life and energy and kind of lights the flame again, which is just a beautiful way to pass the torch and encourage someone else. So I think that's the best drag tip, is to be encouraging, to go out and say, hey, you do you, you live your life, you find what's going to make you happy. We all have different paths and different stories, but it's not until you're actually discussing it with someone else that you find that encouragement. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's so great about the Hugo character is that he takes Jamie and goes, you be you.
I love that you connected that this is not necessarily like a, you know, a sad, gloomy coming out story, because this is about Jamie, who is very confident in himself. But Max, I know that, you know, I'm not sure if you had ever done drag before this film, but I imagine it was probably you went through something similar getting into the elaborate get-ups that you get into in this film. So what was your first time in drag like? Was it for this film?
Yeah, my first time in like full drag was in preparation and audition for this film. I'd like played with like makeup and packet wigs from the party store that Bianca would probably absolutely drag me for if she could see these pictures of me. But my process of like discovering drag to the fullest extent was through this film, and I love it, and I loved getting the opportunity to do it.
The best thing is, I mean, if you have to do drag for the first time in a major feature film, you're doing all right.
We had a good budget. We had a good budget. It looks good. I had a good budget. Yeah.
No, but you're also young and very talented, so it's all good. It's all good.
Richard, what did you feel like the first time you got into drag for this film?
I've never felt such terror in any part that I played, and I've been doing this for 40 years because I'm so old. Because the first time you put on, you know, I was 6'6" with this huge Margaret Thatcher type wig, 36 double D lalas, and hips and tucked like the Ken Barbie, you know, just a plastic hump. And, you know, I didn't even have to make my own dress. What I couldn't get over is that I thought once Guy Cohen had done this amazing makeup, when I looked out, I just thought, oh, God, nobody's going to be fooled by this. But people's response made me kind of, you sort of, I don't know, you fill out your lungs to it and rise to the occasion, as it were. So I felt very small inside, but, you know, as Max has said, something else comes out of you. And I don't know where that, and the director, Jonathan, he said to me, you know, your drag she's going to come out of you. She's going to come out of you. And I kept thinking, she's not. What if she's not? What are they going to do? They're going to have to, you know, get Bianca to play my part as well. No, I'm not going to do that. So it sort of just happened.
And just for the record, I wasn't available. That's why Richard got the role.
I was going to say, was there a showgirls moment? Did you try to throw beads under Richard's heels?
Listen.
Yeah.
they wanted to go in a different direction with an Academy Award nominee, a star on stage and screen. And I thought, okay, try this. Let's see. No.
Well, did you guys have any discussions about the character before the film? I'm sure that, because Bianca, you had a lot of knowledge of playing this character. So did you guys have any discussions together?
It's crazy because I had done the musical, and then it was an interesting thing when they said, okay, we're doing the film. And I was actually on the road, and Jonathan, who I love, who's the director, reached out to me and says, we have this small cameo. Would you be interested in doing it? And I assumed when I got the call that someone was sick and I was taking over. But the great thing was, they said, we have this small cameo. Would you be interested in doing it? And at the time I was headed to Amsterdam for something, and I'm like, I don't know if I can make it. I don't know, whatever. And they were like, we can work it around you. And I was like, So I was able to fly in, and I went to Sheffield, and I was in the school, and I got to see Max, and it was literally a day of me filming it. But what was very funny to me, while I was there were separate trailers. There was a trailer that said Bianca Del Rio, and there's one that said Miss Haylock, which is my real last name. So I was like, are they fucking with me? Why is there two? Like, what is going on? And they said, no, that the writer had written the teacher's name to be Miss Haylock, which is my real name. He's like, I ran out of names, so I used your name. So there was a woman on set, which is the best. There was a woman who was playing the art teacher. You know this, Max. We were cackling. So this woman who, as you saw in the movie, who plays like the real me, so to speak. So she's like the non-drag version of me. And there's me in the dream sequence. So I had to bring a wig for her because the hair people were like, we need to have you and this woman look the same. And I thought, oh God, this is horrible. You're going to make this woman look like me in drag. So here was this very sweet woman wearing a Bianca wig. We're in the same outfit. I will post the photo soon, but it is the most funniest thing because I'm like, this poor woman, she has to look like me in her big moment.
The funniest thing about that, the funniest thing about that is that I don't think that she really knew what she was getting herself in for.
No. And so there's a real woman painted up to look like me. I mean, she looked natural for a corpse, but she's in this look. And then there's me, which I was like, oh, poor thing. So that's how it kind of happened for me. So I didn't get to see Richard because I was there, but my friends, I must say, Myra Dubois and Son of a Tutu, who I love dearly, played two of the other drag queens in the thing, and they had nothing but compliments about Richard and Max and how much they enjoyed it and the experience and how much they loved being around.
Yeah, it is a pretty authentic transformation. I mean, it's pretty hard to make it seem like you have been doing this art form for a long time, and both Max and Richard, you guys really settled into the roles very well. It's really good performances all around. I think it's funny though, Max, do you think Jamie would ever audition for or make it onto RuPaul's Drag Race? Because RuPaul's Drag Race sort of defines mainstream drag now. So do you think that that's in the wheelhouse of interest for Jamie?
I think he would absolutely 100% audition. Whether he would make the season, I'm not sure. But he would 100% be auditioning every year until he made it. Like, that's his dream. Like, he wants to be on Drag Race. Like, that's, I think,
make it happen
as well. But before he meets Richard in the movie, that's all he sees drag is. That's all his education of drag is. And then he meets Richard, and through this wonderful new song which we have for the movie called This Was Me, Richard's character teaches Jamie all of the history and, you know, how hard queens had to fight for their position that they do have now. And I feel like although he did learn all that, he would take all that with him, but he would still be going full pelt for that Drag Race slot.
You are the bravest person I know. You're like Beyonce.
No. Mom, do you ever wish I were just normal?
No. Never.
It is interesting because I feel like a lot of the younger fans of mainstream drag today don't necessarily know the history of it. And I'm glad that you and Richard also, I'm glad that you guys looked sort of to drag history to prepare for these parts, because I think that's really important for people to do today. So good on you guys for doing doing your research and your homework. Now, I want to go into a quick lightning round of drag advice that you guys can just freely discuss amongst yourselves. And I want to rip the Band-Aid off first. Let's just get the toughest one over with. Bianca, what advice would you have for Max and Richard on The Secret to a Good Tuck?
Ooh, it's challenging. The trick is, it depends on what you want to wear. Like, I don't get sexy in drag because no one's interested in clowns. So I would say the trick is I tuck everything under and then stick it all up under my wig, which is why I have this hat on, which holds it. But that's where I put things. But it is tricky. I must say, once you're tucked, never try to go to the restroom, because that is the worst. Because it's going to take 20 minutes to find things. And then once you do, Richard's going, you know what I'm talking about, then it's very hard to get things back.
Hours.
So it's Yes, exactly. So don't bother with it. So just once you're in it, just shut up and be the miserable drag queen you are. That's why half the drag queens I know are miserable. It's because they don't have to be.
We spent so long in those looks as well on set. 'Cause obviously, we shoot for 12 hours. And the shooting time is quite tight. You know, we have to be on camera for a lot of it, and there's not much time for you. That's like you can get out of drag now to use the bathroom. So me and Richard were holding on for dear life for those 12 hours, and it was a lot.
I took sips through a straw over 14 hours, and that's all I had.
And I imagine
it's a lot.
Everybody who comes to drag for the first time or to Drag Race for the first time, it's like the art of tucking is always the biggest shock. Everybody is always so surprised by it. Did it throw you guys at first? Because it's always a huge shock to people who are new to the art form.
I tell you, if I can just ask, the biggest mystery to me is how people can jump off, jump up and do the splits. How they do that.
Pain.
It's a feat.
You know what that is, Richard? That is youth. Okay. Youth. Because they just, I'm like, I could not imagine. I mean, I cringe when I see it happen. I go, ooh. Yeah, no. That's too much.
All right, let's go through some other drag advice that you guys might have. And this is open to everybody. Anybody can feel free to answer. So what is the best way to make sure your wig stays on your head during a performance?
Oh. Glue? I'm guessing glue. Lots of glue. Lots of pins.
Right to the skin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Staples. A few staples. Yeah.
Glue made from donkey sperm.
You know, the gays are going to love that. Yes.
And I don't want to discuss how you get the donkey to commit to this, but it's a whole nother process. But Richard knows. He's got
it. Yeah, I will take that. So what's the all-time greatest lip sync song for a drag queen?
Ooh. Well, I think I like anything old school. So, it's anything disco or, Last Dance from Donna Summer takes you back. But, the kids today would probably say Ariana Grande or Lady Gaga, whatever. But I like an old classic. I like a classic song. A song that I know, a song that brings me joy. And also, if they know the words. I mean, a drag queen has one job. Know the f***ing words. And so I think it's important. You should always perform the numbers you know. Don't try to create a look without committing to the actual song. I guess it's also like acting. You would want somebody that's prepared. You don't want to go out there and not know what you're doing. So I would say a classic disco song excites
me. What about Bonnie Tyler?
Yeah, but the kids will disagree.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I like Bonnie Tyler. Yes. Bonnie Tyler, lovely. Not mad
Max,
at her.
You were unironically nodding your head when Bianca said Ariana Grande.
I'm like, I don't want to be dragged today, so I'm not going to say Lady Gaga.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because everybody's going to go, oh, you can't say that about Ariana Grande. I can. Don't care. But I think that, but she's got great songs as well. I just think that as long as you know it, as long as you feel it, as long as it resonates with you, I think that's important. Never do something for the audience. You need to do something for yourself.
And I think because Britney Spears is currently under this insane conservatorship, she must be high ranking at the moment for
yeah,
song.
Correct.
Absolutely.
That she is. Richard's done his research. Yeah, donkey sperm, Britney Spears.
You got it. You got it. Yes, Richard, welcome to the community.
He knows. He knows.
So, what is the best way to wash dirty tights and get rid of the smell after a long performance?
Well, they would probably say wardrobe, which is great. So someone else will do it. But I think hygiene. Well, that was my favorite thing about getting to do Jamie in the West End was that I was in one dressing room. Because normally I'm not. Normally you're just schlepping around the world doing different things, which is lovely. But to be in one dressing room, have somebody comb your wig, have somebody do your laundry was a treat for me. So that's important. But I think that people forget, and I think Richard and Max both know, is that it's layers of everything. Layers of tights, layers of drag, corsetry, and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, no matter how glamorous you look, you still sweat like a man. So it's important. It's important to keep those things clean. Drag queens forget.
But you should just throw them away.
You don't want your clothes. You don't want your clothes to say hello before
Richard
you.
has a good point. Yeah, just throw them away. Yeah, that's the.
I think
throw them away. There you go.
The
Light
tights
a
that are
match
closest
and walk away.
To your bits, throw them away.
Yeah.
It then cost them.
Have a wax and put on some MAC face and body, and you should do. That's what I would say.
There you go.
There
you can wash that off.
Max and Richard, what do you think is the most fun thing to wear as a drag queen?
I love hair. I love hair. I love wigs. So like I have been known by my friends and family to spend money on hair that I don't need. So like just this last week, I bought like 2 or 3 wigs from like one of the UK wigs distributors. It cost me like £400. I don't know when I'm going to wear these wigs. I don't know when they'll see the light of day, but I have them and I can just put them on whenever I like, and feel.
Why don't you put one on now?
Just to have on file.
I don't think I have it. It would take me like a few minutes to go get. Let me see if I can grab it. I'm going to do it.
Let's see. Oh, Richard, thank you so much. You beat me to it.
Because the moment I got the right wig, I knew that I would be sort of all right. The hair was everything.
Richard, you don't have any wigs where you're hanging out, right?
I'm
just grateful to have any hair at my age at all.
There we go. We found her.
I found her. Bianca, again, don't drag me. This wig isn't styled.
I'm not.
Does she have
a
name, Max? Does this wig have a name?
Not yet.
Oh,
Not yet.
Yes.
Oh,
I love it.
Look at that.
Bianca has some Reeds cooking. I see.
No, I love it.
How many wigs?
How
many wigs do you have, Bianca?
Far too many. But you know what's crazy? You go through phases, I guess, you have a moment where you're like, oh, I'm attracted to this wig or that color or this works for me. But I have quite a few. More than 20. Yeah, I have bins full of, bins to you are trash, but yeah, that too. But I have bins of wigs in every color that then you go, okay, well, I'm going to put this together or put that together.
The next one is, if a drunk group of women in a bachelorette party enter the bar that you're performing at, what is the best way to deal with them when one starts climbing onto the stage?
Well, that comes with the territory. You have to realize, because of Drag Race in particular, and because it's so celebrated now, and that's the another thing about the movie, is that, Richard's character is explaining a different time, which I think is also pretty important, because I'm familiar with that time because I'm old. But before Drag Race, it was kind of like you had to go to a gay club or a cabaret space to find a drag queen. It wasn't as celebrated. There was a few people like Charles Pierce or Jim Bailey who were performers that performed outside of the box. But overall, you had to go there. So it was kind of like not so much a safe space, but it was the only place that we worked in. So when anyone came into the club, they were up for grabs, as far as if you were drunk or you had your wife or your girlfriend. That's kind of where that banter and that nastiness or the fun and the campiness came into. So now, because of Drag Race and because it's in people's living rooms, you've got a different audience. And a majority of the audience that I have when I'm on the road is straight girls. So rather than berate them or have issues with them, I often go, those straight girls are there to remind me why I have sex with men. So it works out well. I go, okay, this is a reminder. This is a reminder I'm doing things right. But I do enjoy them as an audience. So the point is, you got to welcome them, because an audience is an audience. You welcome everybody in and they just want to have a good time, and you got to give credit to a straight girl. If she shows up at a gay club, she's ready to party. And I think you have to welcome everybody. You can't say, no, you're not allowed. You can't. No, let them have a good time. Usually they're about to get married, which is amazing, because you go, ooh, somebody wants to marry you. Come on in. Moments of freedom. God bless you. I only have to deal with you for one night. Yeah.
Max and Richard, do you think, though, I guess, how do you think you guys would deal with a heckler in your drag personas? Because I think, we always hear Rue say something like, drag reveals who you actually are. So do you think it emboldens you to do certain things that you wouldn't do outside of drag?
Most definitely. I think that, it's like any part that you play, it empowers you to say and do things that you would never do in normal life. And it as a segue, it's the equivalent of when I was filming in New York a couple of years ago, and the director said, "Oh, can you just run across 56th Street?" And I just did. I didn't even think about it. And when I saw it afterwards, I was nearly killed. But in normal life, I would never do that. But somehow you're on this bubble of thinking, well, that's in control. So my point being that if you've got the wig and you've got fabulous shoes on and, leopard skin leggings and all that stuff, 36 double Ds, you think, I've got your fembot jubbly power here. Nothing's going to get past me. So it empowers and emboldens you. So that was exhilarating.
Yeah. So I want to end with Max and Richard. Do you guys think that you will continue to do drag, or you will do it again after this film?
I will probably continue to play in drag and like wear wigs and, you know, get dressed up for viewing parties of Drag Race, but probably not like branch out and have my own drag career, because it's like so it's I think it's so much more difficult than these amazing queens make it seem. It's like I found it such a challenge during the film, and yeah, so probably not. I'm probably just going to stick to the acting for now.
I most unequivocally and definitely am and will do, because I have an announcement to make that Bianca and I are touring the globe together as a double act.
Yes! Perfect. This was what I was waiting for. This was our big announcement. Now EW has the exclusive that Richard E. Grant and myself are going on the road. And he, let me tell you, he only included me because he needs somebody to sell tickets. You know, his career is in the slump. You know, come on now. After this moment, he's like, I got to get some of this. Yeah,
love it.
Donkey Sperm.
That's the
Donkey
name of the
Sperm
tour.
doesn't
That
stand
is the
a
name
chance.
of the tour. Donkey Sperm.
Yeah. Yeah, Donkey
Well,
Sperm.
Bianca, I was going to ask you as well. You know, are you going to continue to do drag? I know that you're, you know, at the end of your rope on the edge of retirement, right?
Trust me. No, the crazy thing is that I never planned to do it this long. So it's crazy. Last year was 25 years of doing this, that you just never know, you know? And it's that kind of thing that's evolved, and it's opened many, many doors for me. But it's kind of like, what an amazing ride, you know? And to be a part of this amazing film, to be a part of the musical and have this opportunity has just been kind of surreal. So it's like, look, if I can still do opportunities like this, why the hell not? I mean, the only other thing I could do is maybe run for office and be a politician, because that's the only other place where you can be a clown.
I would love to see it. Love to see
Yeah.
it. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to Bianca Del Rio, Richard E. Grant, and Max Harwood. Everybody's Talking About Jamie is on Amazon Prime Video starting September 17th. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.